In a world where love, loyalty, and labels are becoming more complex than ever, many men find themselves lost in the chaos of modern relationships. You've probably noticed it. Commitment feels weaker, definitions blur, and connections often appear fleeting. This is what some call relationship anarchy, a state where traditional boundaries dissolve, where boyfriend and girlfriend don't mean what they once did, and where the pursuit of freedom often collides with the longing for security. For a man trying to navigate this modern storm, the confusion can feel overwhelming. But what if I told you that within this chaos lies a chance to find strength, clarity, and even power? What if the very struggles of today's relationships could be transformed into opportunities for self-growth and deeper understanding? To understand how to navigate modern love, we must first face the truth about what relationship anarchy really is. It's not just casual dating, nor is it pure chaos. Relationship anarchy is the idea that love and commitment are not bound by social scripts or traditional hierarchies. Instead, every bond is negotiated, every connection is chosen, and no relationship is automatically more valuable than another simply because of a label. For many men, this is deeply unsettling. Why? Because the rules that once provided direction are gone. In the past, society gave men a roadmap. You meet a woman, court her, marry, and build a family. But today, those steps are no longer guaranteed. Now you encounter women who say they don't want labels, who value freedom over stability, or who believe emotional closeness can exist without exclusivity. And if you don't understand this shift, you risk either clinging to illusions or falling into frustration. This is where Stoicism enters the picture. The Stoics taught us that the external world, whether it is politics, fortune, or the behavior of other people, is beyond our complete control. What we can control is our response, our mindset, and our choices. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Agnes Callard modernizes this by urging us to ask, am I living by truths or by illusions? Am I responding with clarity or confusion? So the first step in navigating relationship anarchy is to accept reality without resistance. Stop wishing the old rules were still in place. Stop demanding that others follow scripts they no longer believe in. Instead, see this new world for what it is: uncertain, flexible, and yes, even chaotic. Once you accept this, you stop being blindsided by disappointment. You begin to act not from desperation, but from awareness. Agnes Callard calls this the philosophical life, living in a way where you actively examine your desires, choices, and beliefs. If you are struggling in modern relationships, the problem is not only with women or society. It may also be with your unexamined expectations. The man who refuses to question himself becomes trapped by illusions. But the man who embraces questioning gains freedom. Now that we've accepted the reality of relationship anarchy, the question becomes, how should a man act within it? The answer is not to chase, not to beg, not to lose yourself in endless overthinking. Instead, the answer is self-mastery. Agnes Callard often emphasizes that growth requires tension, that living well means stretching beyond comfort, confronting uncertainty, and learning to desire better. In relationships, this means you cannot control whether a woman values you, but you can control whether you value yourself. You cannot dictate if she chooses loyalty, but you can demand loyalty from your own principles. The Stoics taught that the highest freedom is mastery over the self. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In a world where many men panic when a woman pulls away or feel crushed, when she withholds validation, Stoic wisdom calls you to rise above these storms. Self-mastery means building a fortress within yourself so strong that no rejection, no ghosting, no betrayal can destroy your center. Practically, this begins with discipline. Discipline in thought, discipline in emotion, discipline in action. Instead of reacting impulsively to every shift in her mood or every ambiguous message, you pause. You reflect. You ask, what is within my control? What belongs to me and what does not? This mental discipline separates the strong man from the weak one in modern dating. Agnes Callard connects this to the Socratic idea of the examined life. If you constantly live at the mercy of external validation, then you have not examined your desires. Why do you need constant reassurance? Why do you crumble when someone does not choose you? If you trace these questions honestly, you will often discover that the real battle is not with women, but with yourself. Self-mastery also involves building habits of strength, cultivating purpose beyond relationships, focusing on health, discipline, and contribution. The man who knows his mission cannot be broken by a woman's indifference. The man who knows his worth does not beg for attention. And the man who is rooted in self-control gains the respect of others, not because he demands it, but because he embodies it. By embracing Stoic self-mastery, you stop fearing the chaos of modern love. You stop panicking when rules collapse because you no longer need rules to validate your identity. Instead, you stand firm, rooted, and unshaken. One of Agnes Callard's most powerful contributions to modern philosophy is her idea that desire is not fixed. It is something we grow into. She calls this aspirational desire, the process of wanting something before we fully understand it, of reaching toward a better version of ourselves. Now, apply this to relationships. Most men desire women in a reactive, instinctive way, chasing attraction, validation, or companionship without examining what they truly seek. But in the world of relationship anarchy, where rules are broken and roles are unclear, blind desire will always leave you lost. The Stoics remind us that not every desire is worth pursuing. Seneca warned that most men are enslaved to unnecessary passions. To be free, you must question, what do I really desire in love? Is it just the temporary thrill of attention? Is it the illusion of control? Or is it the deeper aspiration toward connection that makes me stronger, wiser, more complete as a man? Agnes Callard teaches us that we should not cling to the desires we inherit from culture or society. Instead, we must allow ourselves to be reshaped by philosophy, to become someone who wants better things. This means moving beyond the shallow wish for validation into the higher desire for growth, loyalty, and truth. But here's the challenge. In a world where women may say they want freedom, where commitment feels uncertain, and where desire often collides with fear, men must learn not to panic. Instead of lowering yourself to chase what is temporary, you must refine yourself to attract what is lasting. This does not mean becoming cold or emotionless. Stoicism is not suppression. It is direction. It is guiding your desire with wisdom so that you no longer waste yourself on illusions. So ask yourself, what kind of love makes me stronger? What kind of bond aligns with my principles? Once you begin answering these questions honestly, you stop running in circles. You no longer measure yourself by how many women approve of you. You measure yourself by whether your desires match the man you are becoming. Part 4. The Power of Detachment and Emotional Resilience. If you want to survive and thrive in relationship anarchy, you must master the art of detachment. Now, many men misunderstand this. They think detachment means indifference, acting like they don't care, playing games, or pretending emotions don't exist. But that's not Stoicism, and it's not what Agnes Callard calls philosophical growth. Detachment is not about apathy, it is about resilience. It is the ability to feel deeply, yet remain unbroken when things do not go your way. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." This is not a denial of emotion. It is the training of emotion. In relationships, this means you can love a woman fully. Yet if she pulls away, if she chooses freedom, or if she betrays your trust, you do not collapse. Your foundation is not built on her approval, but on your own strength. Agnes Callard reminds us that philosophy is about confronting the truth, even when it hurts. Emotional resilience requires that you face rejection, loneliness, and uncertainty, without letting them define you. Too many men confuse being valued with being chosen. But in Stoic philosophy, your value is not given by others. It is realized within yourself. This is why detachment is so powerful. Imagine two men facing the same situation. A woman withdraws from them. The first man panics. He begs. He loses sleep, questions his worth, and spirals into insecurity. The second man feels the sting, but remains steady. He acknowledges the pain, but does not let it dictate his identity. He continues to live, to grow, to pursue his mission. Which man do you think commands more respect, both from himself and from others? The Stoics and Agnes Callard would both agree. It is the second man. Detachment is not coldness. It is controlled passion. It is learning to hold on to love without being consumed by it, to give without enslaving yourself, and to walk away without losing your soul. This resilience makes you unshakable in a world where instability is the rule. Part 5. Building Purpose Beyond Relationships. The fifth step in mastering modern relationship anarchy is to anchor yourself in a mission greater than romance. Too many men make women their central purpose. They define success by whether they are desired, pursued, or chosen. But the truth is this: if your life revolves around being validated by someone else, you will always remain fragile. The Stoics insisted that a man's purpose must be rooted in virtue, in building wisdom, courage, discipline, and justice. Agnes Callard expands this by reminding us that philosophy is not just about abstract reflection. It is about directing your life toward what is truly meaningful. If relationships are chaotic, then you must build a center of gravity so strong that no chaos can pull you off balance. Ask yourself, what do I wake up for? What do I dedicate my energy to? If your only answer is a woman, you have already surrendered your power. But if your answer includes growth, contribution, creation, and discipline, then you have already begun to rise above the instability of modern love. When a man builds purpose, whether through his career, his art, his fitness, or his service to others. He stops approaching relationships from desperation. He no longer asks, "Will she complete me?" Instead, he asks, "Does this relationship align with my mission?" That shift alone transforms the dynamic. Women sense it, people respect it, and most importantly, you feel it within yourself. Agnes. Collard teaches that philosophy should help us desire in the right way. If you desire only pleasure or approval, your foundation is weak. But if you desire to live in truth, to grow in virtue, and to contribute to the world, then relationships become an addition to your strength, not the source of it. So remember this: the man with no mission will always be lost in the chaos of love. But the man with purpose will navigate it with clarity. He will choose relationships not from need, but from strength. And that is what makes him truly unbreakable in a world without rules. In a world of relationship anarchy where traditional rules are blurred, boundaries become more important than ever. Many men fall into the trap of silence or over-explaining. They either say nothing, hoping the woman will just know what they want, or they flood her with endless attempts to convince her of their value. Both extremes come from weakness. Agnes Callard emphasizes that philosophy is about making your inner life transparent, about being willing to articulate what you believe, even if it makes you vulnerable. Stoicism echoes this by teaching that clarity, not confusion, brings peace. When you set boundaries, when you clearly communicate your principles, you are no longer enslaved by fear of rejection. Let's make this practical. Imagine you're with a woman who says she doesn't want exclusivity. The man without boundaries hides his true feelings, hoping she will eventually choose him. He suffers silently, accepting less than what he wants. But the Stoic man, the philosophical man, responds differently. He communicates his values calmly. "I respect your freedom, but I value loyalty and commitment. If our desires don't align, then I must walk away." That is power. Not shouting, not begging, just clarity. Boundaries are not about controlling others. They are about defining yourself. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." The man who lives by this principle stops compromising his soul for temporary comfort. When you build communication rooted in truth, women may test you, but they will also respect you. And even if they leave, you will not have betrayed yourself. That is the core of Stoic communication. Calm honesty, grounded in strength, free from desperation. Boundaries are your armor in the battlefield of modern love. Without them, you are vulnerable to confusion and manipulation. With them, you are unshakable. Part 7. Transforming Chaos into Growth. At this point, you might still feel overwhelmed. The uncertainty of modern love, the endless negotiations, the shifting desires, it can all seem exhausting. But here is where Stoicism and Agnes Callard give us the ultimate key. What looks like chaos is actually your training ground. The Stoics believed that every challenge is an opportunity to grow stronger. Epictetus compared life to a wrestling match. You do not become strong by avoiding the fight, but by facing it. Agnes Callard reframes this in her philosophy of aspiration. Growth is not about already being who you want to be. It is about striving, becoming, stretching into your higher self. So when a relationship tests you, see it not as destruction, but as instruction. When a woman pulls away, ask yourself, what is this teaching me about attachment? When you face rejection, ask, what is this teaching me about resilience? When you encounter confusion, ask, what is this teaching me about clarity? Every difficulty in modern love is a classroom, and you are either learning or avoiding the lesson. If you run from the chaos, you will repeat the same mistakes. But if you face it with stoic courage and philosophical curiosity, you transform the very pain that once broke you into the wisdom that builds you. That is the secret. Relationship anarchy is not your enemy, it is your teacher. It strips away illusions and forces you to become a man of substance. Agnes Callard insists that philosophy should not comfort us with false certainty. It should guide us toward truth, no matter how uncomfortable. And Stoicism agrees. The goal is not to escape the storm, but to become the man who stands unshaken within it. Ending. The call to strength. So what have we learned? Modern love is chaotic, unpredictable, and often ruthless. Relationship anarchy removes the old rules, leaving men without a map. But this does not mean you are powerless. Guided by Stoic wisdom and Agnes Callard's insights, you now see the path forward. First, accept reality without resistance. Stop wishing for old scripts and start living in truth. Second, build self-mastery. Discipline your emotions, refine your desires, and live by principles, not by desperation. Third, embrace detachment, not as apathy, but as resilience. Learn to feel deeply without being destroyed. Fourth, root your life in purpose beyond relationships. Become a man of mission, so love becomes an addition to your strength, not the source of it. Fifth, practice clear communication and boundaries. Stop hiding, stop begging. Speak truth calmly and live by it. Finally, see every challenge as a chance to grow. What feels like chaos is actually your training ground. The Stoics would tell you, the obstacle is the way. Agnes Callard would tell you, the examined life is the only life worth living. And now I tell you, your relationships, your heartbreaks, your struggles, these are not setbacks. They are the forge where strength is created. So stand firm. Do not be broken by rejection. Do not be enslaved by confusion. Do not beg for validation. Instead, live by truth, by clarity, by discipline, and when you do, you will not only survive relationship anarchy, you will rise above it. Remember this, women may come and go, society may change, but your principles remain eternal. Become the man who cannot be shaken, and the world will bend before your strength.